Good evening, and after our summer break, welcome once again to our programme Bits and Pieces. Well, last week we started gathering news for this programme and decided to ride around on our bikes. We rode to the bottom of Creswick Road to see the new traffic lights switched on. Then we made our way to Inns Court and enjoyed the joking remarks shouted to us by the building workmen as we passed. And just as we reached Inns Court, Enid had a puncture. So, when Derek gets around to mending the puncture, we'll be out on our bikes again. We were there last week when the new junction on the airport road was open for the first time. And after the officials did their lap of honour along the new road, we saw the blaze of glory as 13 new traffic lights were switched on. This is a very good road and it certainly cuts down the journey between Knowle and Hartcliffe. One complaint I heard was from a teacher who uses the road to get to school. She told me that this morning, when the sun was very bright, she couldn't see whether the traffic lights were on or off. This must be a bit worrying, but I can't see how it can be avoided.
Almost as irritating as the World Cup, our television screens are now being taken up by the forthcoming election. And though the excitement is not quite the same, families as a whole are affected. And it's the wives' faults this time because we are inclined to drool over the good-looking ones. Blue, red or yellow, we don't mind the colour. Mr. Micah Cox, the Labour candidate, was in the area on Monday, stopping to listen and offering advice. These election campaigns just don't seem to be the communal events they used to be, when the candidate came and stood on street corners, surrounded by the people who heckled in a good-humoured manner. Nothing organised and vicious then. We feel that's the only way to represent the individual people, and it's a pity we've lost it. Mr. Richard Kellaway is our Conservative candidate. Anyway, who's your favourite? The pipe, the smile or the trilby?
As you can see, the old burnt-out kitchen in Creswick Road has now been removed, and the dining hall at the back, which was badly vandalised during the school holidays, is about to be repaired. When it is in use again, it will be the property of the Youth Committee, and it is hoped that as well as youth activities, some of the community will also be interested in using the building during the day.
Jack White and Bill Giles are the two workers responsible for bricking and filling in the windows. Two good old stagers. Bill told us he was working on Creswick Road in 1939, building the houses, which then cost approximately £300. The brick shoes were called London Ebervels and are now unattainable. The time taken then to build the shell of houses was only a fortnight, and we all know how good they still are. Bill told us in 1939 the bus service was non-existent, and 1974 can boast the same.
This is the time of year when churches have their harvest festivals, and this week we have two to report. The first was at St Barnabas on Sunday, September the 22nd, with another service on Monday for the first-year boys of Merrywood School. This year, people were asked to donate things that would be needed for the ingredients of soups, stews, etc., things to go on bread or tinned goods, as all the food collected would be given to the Cyrenians who care for the down and outs in Bristol. And the amount collected was 1.5 tea chests of tinned soup and beans, vegetables, and one man even donated a joint of meat.
And the second was a harvest supper, which was held at Newry Walk Baptist Church and organised by the Baptist Missionary Society. A total of 75 people of all ages attended, including Barbara, and we were all given a very warm welcome. A total of £15.15 was raised, and this will be given to help the flood victims of Bangladesh. Newry Walk will be having a new student minister in the near future. This will be Kevin Pearson, who at the moment is studying at Bristol Baptist College.
And now we go on to this week's weddings. Congratulations to Jack Bellera of Ashton and Susan Teagle of 42 Cossington Road, who were married at St Barnabas Church last Saturday. I must thank them for standing in the cold a little longer just to pose for a photograph from me. And thank you for the sherry, Susan. It was lovely. And congratulations also to Brian Durbin, 45 Barnstable Road, and Rita Howe, 21 Connaught Road, who were also married at St Barnabas Church last Saturday. Rita said the wedding arrangements went all wrong in the beginning, but everything turned out all right in the end. Anyway, best wishes from us to you. And some what's on. There's a badminton club at Merrywood Girls' School on Friday evenings from 8 till 10 p.m. And though some experience is preferred, it's not necessary. Anyone interested, call in and see Enid at Woodford Shop, Philwood Broadway. And there will be more go-kart racing at Whitchurch Airport on Sunday, October the 13th. And the first race will be at 1:30 p.m.
Mrs. Margaret Kippin of Clonmel Road is a woman who appears to put 36 hours in a 24-hour day. First, she is the lady who is in control of all the bookings at Philwood Social Centre, and generally she can let you know in 24 hours. Secondly, Margaret is Secretary of Knowle West Community Council. Then she does a good job at being Secretary of US, which now holds various activities in the community, dancing, coffee mornings, jumper sales, etc. Also, she is a deacon of Newry Walk Baptist Church, which is a very important part of the smooth running of the church. Besides all this purely voluntary work, Margaret's professional job is a bookkeeper in a builder's office. And just to make us feel completely exhausted, she is a mother of 5 children. We asked Margaret the secret of her unending energy. She replied, a good and understanding local doctor.
There was a couple of things which had our community in a right old tizzy this last week. First, we had our new Evening Post, and after such a big build-up of what to expect, on Countdown Day, everyone was upset and shocked at what we saw. This picture shows a small number of people who had nothing good to say about it. They all agreed it was far too big and difficult to handle comfortably, and though the adverts are separate, the other part just didn't click as a newsy newspaper. Everyone we spoke to agreed it was the long, elaborate press build-up of this new paper that led to the disappointment being more acute. And though it looks as if we're stuck with it, as the machinery used is new, modern and expensive, and it prints the Western Daily Press as well, petitions are being made all over Bristol for what most people think is a big flop.
The other is the start of a salt shortage, which has all the makings of another sugar crisis. It is caused first by rumours, not facts, in the press, and from there consumer hoarders, which in plain English, customer who panic buys, and that means both the retailers and the customers. This makes the wholesale warehouses empty until their next delivery, which could be anything from a week to a fortnight. And even though there is definitely no shortage of salt, the vicious circle of panic buying has taken over. A salty note of comfort, the salt mine in Cheshire has a year's supply in stock. And to follow our programme tonight, we have a pre-recording of Mr. Plunknet talking about the history of the Fighting Cocks, our local pub. And Barbara has a few words to say to you before she goes. Good night from me.
Before I say good night, there's a shortage of metal meat skewers and men's collar studs. Good night.
Good night.
Get yours out the attic.
Got that there.
I'm a decent